Hey, good morning, tea sippers. Good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna jump right in. I've been busy. Is this?
My question is for Andrew. And first, I want to say I also support Turning Point USA. I was a huge Charlie Kirk fan, and I also support Turning Point USA. Go Birds! My question is for Andrew. And first, I want to say I also support
I'm
Turning
just
Point
gonna jump
USA.
right. Hey,
I was a
yeah, I'm
huge
just
Charlie.
gonna jump right into one of the many things that's going on right now uh, about this. I love Hitler, Charlie Kirk's spokesman, the leaked email, text. I'm sorry, the leaked text. I mean, it's just like, man, it's just hard because you want to feel sorry for what's going on if it's true. You never know if it's true or not. Um, with so much fake propaganda staged events to throw off elections, to throw off the Epstein files. What Charlie Kirk's real motive was. Was he really a Christian? Was he a Christian? Uh, was he a Zionist trying to carry, manipulate Christians? Um, did he dislike black people? Did he dislike immigrants? Did he dislike Martin Luther King? Did he really dislike civil rights? I mean, the things that he said he was against, was it an act for debate? Was it the truth? I mean, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Hey, Vicky. But I'm listening to this intentional, again, hypocrisy with this. Oh, it was just locker room talk. Oh, uh, we don't want to condemn. Oh, what about freedom of speech? Oh, I mean, and we have a peaceful protest this weekend. And what about that freedom of speech? That's not freedom of speech. But you want to bomb. You want to send missiles on U.S. soil. Yeah, okay. Let's just go in. Let's just go ahead and listen. I may step away. I'm working, so thank y'all for pulling in, chiming in. Of course, I will be back later. I've been meaning to come on a little earlier and couldn't pull it off. So bear with me, okay?
Charlie Kirk fan, and I am devastated by his assassination, and my condolences for your loss.
Thank you so much.
My question, actually, though, is
Oh,
a much different tone and
and the
about the.
picture, the backdrop picture. How can I mean? Are we still in denial? Are we gonna act like he hadn't? Trump hadn't been reading or studying Adolf Hitler. I mean, how long are we gonna continue to play this game? Okay.
Super Bowl. I heard that Turning Point was planning an alternative Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes.
I wanted to know if that's true and why.
Yeah, actually, the truth is we are planning an alternative halftime show, and it basically was something that memed itself into existence. We joked about it on a show, a streaming show with Tim Pool. me and another guest named Jack Posobiec, who you might know. And the audience response was so immediate and viral, and our inbox was flooded that we said,
Please, please
maybe we
come
should think
in
about
here.
this. And then
Please come in hitting the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, join the membership. And if you're on your phone, like I am, double tap the face of your screen. If you're on your computer, there are 3 dots at the top. If you hit those dots, click those dots, it'll take you to the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's go.
we got a bunch of emails from actual, corporate media saying, "Is this true? Is this true?" And I was like, "Well, it wasn't, but maybe we should consider it." And I think it was just an organic
Thank you,
outflow
Vicky. I
of
know
the
you
fact that a
do.
lot of people are offended at maybe
I'm
some of the
talking to the
programming that
53
is
people
being
that's
planned
in
for
here with
the
only
Super Bowl,
5
maybe some of the
likes.
commentary that's come off of that. But also, I like to think it's more of a positive thing because, with the memorial of Charlie Kirk, and we had 120 million people streaming that. And we saw that beautiful worship music, and it was a very uniting moment for a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but for a lot of people, it was really beautiful. And I think I still had that feeling in their hearts about
Who's
that.
Who's going to be the entertainer? Who are you bringing in?
We're not ready to make any announcements.
Not ready.
He's making his
This
bid.
time I'm going to push back against you a little bit.
All right. Well, I kind of like the malicious rabbit. I think the
Malicious rabbit.
Yeah.
I want to.
I'm giving the bunny a chance.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation.
So what's the best way
Hold
for a
on.
woman? Hi, I'm Professor Pride.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong one. Ouch. Ouch. My bad. I clicked the wrong one.
You guys aren't going to believe what happens. Make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed to see the debate show coming up.
Adam Mockler is part of the vanguard of podcasts on the left. He works with Midas.
Oh, that was it. That was it.
Armament. And
No,
obviously
I'm
they're
gonna
in
start
just
with this one.
particular areas. It's somewhat for show.
Let's start with
I
this
wish
one.
that the president would say, I want to help you in all of your cities, Philadelphia, everywhere. One of the things that I had during appropriations was a reinstatement of $100 million, which are grants for violence interruption.
Lawmakers on
We
Trump
know
crime
that those
crackdown.
grants,
And then
based
it'll-
right in the
it'll go,
communities.
come
We know those
people.
grants work to reduce gun violence, violent crime.
Thank you,
And not one
Vicky.
Republican would vote for it. They don't want to reduce crime in that way. And the president is doing this for, I think, a most uncomfortable, most un-American show.
Let me share this. If I had to guess which guest I would have walk off tonight, I would have never guessed it would have been Stephen A. Smith. I want you to know that. It was not my guess. But I respect the point that he made. I respect even more that he came back. I want to thank each of you.
Oh,
for making
Stephen
the
A.
case to
Smith
this
walked
audience
off.
and to all the American
Oh, well, let me
families at
back
home
up.
about where it is. So they see at a minimum. They may like, they may not like, but they hear you talking about what matters to them.
There's a lot of politics in play here because the Republicans feel that they're gaining, and CNN actually.
Oh, let's see what
did
made
right,
Stephen A. Smith
a
bipartisan
poll that shows
lawmakers.
Most Americans are blaming Democrats for the shutdown. That could change, okay? So when the Republicans see that, the urgency of this drops because the midterms loom. But I want to ask the 3 Democrats here. This is what I think is underlying. I don't know if you saw the Oregon Treasury report.
2.5. 2.5. Well, we got 1.5 Republicans and 2.5 Democrats. We're good.
Let's make a deal.
Oregon.
Be very respectful to everybody because they deserve it.
Why?
Let me say that, no, because you deserve it. But let me say this. I don't think Washington understands how ticked off we truly are. Think about the conversation that we're having.
I want everybody in America to have health care.
Okay.
You know what, Martin?
The only way that happens is a one-payer Canadian system.
Let me just.
The only way it happens.
Bill, you know
one of
who
my
else would-
one of my favorite Martin Luther King quotes is the greatest injustice, the greatest inequity, is injustice in health.
Okay, health care is a human right. That's fine.
Then you must be
Plus,
for single payer
want
or
the
health care for
Canadians-
all.
The half Democrat right here. Do you want
Bill, did that mean you want
socialized
also?
medicine?
No, I don't, but I do want to revamp the medical system that we have it now because people don't know what they're paying for. They don't know what they're getting.
Okay,
They
but
don't-
you don't want the government
We can
controlling.
fix that, right. The government basically has to offer.
So it's two
has to be
against
compassionate.
one.
Bill, you know Donald Trump in his
I don't
book,
know him.
he called for, read his book, he says we should have the Canadian single-payer system before he became president.
Is that before or after we take over Canada?
That's a fair point. I don't know, maybe that's his
51st
plan.
state, yes.
Maybe that's his plan. But look, Marjorie Taylor Greene and a lot of Republicans, they're saying this is broken. You had $71 billion of profit by insurance companies. Ordinary Americans' premiums are doubling. They're still paying deductibles, and they're saying this is a deadweight cost on our country.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying this is the divide. This is why the stuff doesn't get done.
But you throw the word socialized in there.
All right.
Because it's a
Canadian
poison
system.
pill. No, even Canadian. See, this is all code. This is
Not
all
code. That's what they pay. It's code
It's
there.
code. If she says yes, I want socialized. All over TikTok. You know, they're socialists. And that's why nothing gets done. Because it's not about the practicality of the purpose. It's just about name calling and which
People-
side is worse.
people
Are you
like-
going to say something? I just want to say. There it is.
Hey guys, did you know some drivers are ditching their car insurance and they're doing this instead?
Trying to be very respectful to everybody because they deserve it.
Why?
Let me say that. No, because you deserve it. But let me say this. I don't think Washington understands how ticked off we truly are. Think about the conversation that we're having right now. You brought up the single payer system, emulating Canada. You know, we're looking at a president that just gave $20 billion to Argentina. We're hearing about or witnessing what I consider to be a retribution tour. And even though to some degree I don't blame him because of how people went after him, still it appears to be counterproductive. We're listening to this kind of stuff while a young man walked up to the microphone and said that he had to leave here to go and work on DoorDash to help pay for his daughter's tuition. Meanwhile, everybody up here get paid. But he ain't. This is this kind of stuff right here. That's how you know. And I'm
Dig
not
that.
accusing any of you directly or personally of feeling this way. I'm just talking about the apparatus that is Washington, the nation's capital. This is why you have so many Americans, excuse my language, so pissed off at Washington. Because somehow, some way, you get to have these conversations, engage in specific elements of it to talk about what we need to do to get things better. Our debt is $37.8 trillion. Somehow, some way, the taxpayers been paying this, been throwing money, because we all look at our check, and it's been going to the government. And somehow, some way, you're supposed to be doing something constructive and productive enough to make sure that we don't have that kind of deficit. It isn't happening. A government shutdown is going on right now. A man has to work on DoorDash when he's really an air traffic controller that we applauded. And we're up here talking about how much some money is going to cost. And the only person that don't have a check coming is him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break.
All right. We'll go to
Okay.
the audience. It's good. I wanted to sit down. So,
That's why he left.
tell us your name and tell us what the question is.
Sandy Monachino. I'm from Binghamton, New York. I'm going to pivot a little bit, change the subject.
Interesting.
The recent indictments of Comey and Letitia James and soon to be imminent Bolton. Do you think, and this is to the panel in general, do you think that it's going to have a positive effect for Trump or a negative effect for Trump? You think it's going to help him or hurt him politically?
Jim.
Yeah, it's not about who it helps or who it hurts politically. It's about applying the facts to the law, and when people have done wrong, they get indicted, they get prosecuted. I think it's just that simple.
Waste of taxpayers'
Whether
money.
you look at Comey, whether it's Letitia James or maybe Bolton, we'll see. But I think there are others who have maybe in the same category. I think John Brennan may not have been square with Congress when he testified. Certainly some questions I asked him in a deposition last Congress relative to a different issue, but we got into some of the things that have been brought forth here recently. What I do know is Jim Comey is where it all started. 10 years ago, Jim Comey took a dossier, a document, paid for by the other party's campaign, through Perkins Coie Law Firm, through Fusion GPS, to a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who put together this garbage document. He took that to the secret court, the FISA court, to get a warrant to spy on the other party's campaign. You're not supposed to do that in America. That is not a good thing. He did it. And then, after Trump wins the election, in spite of all that, they changed the intelligence community assessment. ODNI Director just gave us that. That was all factual. That is all
Jim, I'm not disagreeing with your analysis. I'm not a particular fan of what Comey did, but that's not applying the facts to the law. That's not what he's charged with.
I'm talking about Jim Comey. I understand.
But you're saying you're pissed at Jim for what he did politically, and now you want to prosecute him.
That's
a question. A question from the gentleman is...
Don't be lying.
And it's not going to hurt Trump because the MAGA people hate these people. All right, but that's not justice. Madeline, what's your take on it?
With line
that's not fairness in the law. Madeline, go ahead.
If you don't mind, what I want to say is, I thank you for that question.
They're manipulating.
I care a little bit more about will it hurt the American people and our system of justice, the independence of our system of justice, the Department of Justice. I had the honor of serving on the Judiciary Committee with Mr. Jordan, now Chairman Jordan, for 2 or 3 terms. And if this same setting had happened with Biden as president, the howling that would have been going on about the failure of independence, for the president to be tweeting who he wants indicted, who he wants investigated. We have a failure of independence. So will it help Mr. Trump in his popularity? No. I don't know. But I think it is very gravely harmful to an independent Department of Justice.
We've got to stop the lawfare in this country. Both parties. I agree. Both parties. You know, when we take back power, Jim, we're not going to prosecute you if you don't do anything. If you don't do anything terrible. And if you get in power, you shouldn't be prosecuting Democrats. This is what they do in third world countries. To criminalize politics. And we've got to get past this, and we've got to try to figure out how are we going to move forward. How are we going to actually remain the preeminent country? How are we going to heal some of the divides?
I would just say the rule of law is what we owe, so different than any place else in the world. What we have, we believe in the rule of law. Madam Justice is supposed to be blind. If you look on every courthouse, you'll see her blind. Now speak with Madam now, okay? Looking to see if she has the right person who's going to be trying her. That can't happen. We have to have faith in it.
You think it's okay? You think it's okay for the Justice Department to spy on 8 members of the United States Senate?
Not at all.
You think it's okay for the Justice Department to take the phone of a sitting member of Congress?
They've been spying.
That's what we were dealing with in the last. You talk about
they spy on people all the time. That's not new. Stop that.
We sent a letter today to Jack Smith because 2 of his lieutenants who were part of the special counsel investigation wouldn't answer our questions when we brought them in and deposed them. 70-some times each of them exercised their Fifth Amendment liberties. One of the questions was, how many other members of Congress did you spy on? I exercised my Fifth Amendment right. I'm not going to answer the question. That was one of the questions. Was it political when you went after Trump? I'm going to exercise my Fifth Amendment right. Why wouldn't they answer? They answered a bunch of questions, but 70-some times they did it, and those were the type of questions they wouldn't answer. And now if we look into that, somehow it's a weapons of the government? No way.
Looking into it's fine, but getting the court system and changing the court system until you have the right person that'll get the verdict that you want is not the right way to do it.
Well, that's a shame to prosecute. This is the truth. Hello, the truth. Trump wanted to get those people. That's the truth. He wanted to get them. Now, what you guys have to decide is whether that's revenge or retribution. Retribution is righteous. Revenge is not. I agree with Mr. Jordan here. Comey is as corrupt as J. Edgar Hoover. And you read my book, Killing the Mob, you'll see how corrupt J. Edgar Hoover was. Okay? Comey was off the chart. So if I'm president and Comey has cost my family $150 million, I'm going to get that SOB.
and I got grounds to get him.
But that's not what, that's that, the last part, the last part, no, listen, as a lawyer, justice is all about nuance, okay? And the idea that, and again, I'm just telling you, if we were in a court of law right now, Madeline Dean and Ro Khanna are both much better lawyers than I've ever attempted to be. But I'll tell you this, none of this would be allowed in. And I'll tell you why, because it is irrelevant to the charges at hand. You charged him with lying about something in front of Congress. Either you have the facts that can prove it or you don't. And what is behind why you want to do it is why people hate all of us. Let me ask you a question.
Facts.
Do you have a question for them? Good.
I have a question for the entire...
Good. Is it about something different?
It is.
Even better.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What is your name and where are you from?
My name is Isaac Dellinger. I'm a student at the Catholic University of America here in the district.
Right.
My question is about the National Guard. There's data that shows that violence is actually increased when you bring in the military instead of law enforcement. And so I want to know what you guys think about Trump's decision to do that in our cities, and what the American people should know about that decision.
Let me just say, as a former governor, the 10th Amendment is really something sacred to all of us as governors or former governors. That's our state's rights. We have the right to basically govern ourselves. If the President of the United States calls me and says we have a national emergency, I'll give you a perfect example, Katrina. When Katrina hit down, he called us all. He called me up and asked me, I said, absolutely. So we sent C-130s down, troops down, communication for Louisiana. That, you know what, who pays? The federal government pays me, reimburses me for sending my troops because they're on my payroll, state payroll. I don't know what happened here. I don't know, the president hasn't determined it. If he'd have called me and said he had an emergency, I would have answered it. But if I didn't get that call, I wouldn't have volunteered. That's all I can say. But I say it's about crime. I want to live in a crime-free neighborhood, crime-free state. Okay, and if we're not doing the job, here's the question should be asked. If you're coming to my state, I need you to help me, Mr. President, come to my state, thank you. Comes in there, brings the guard in, we clean up the area. They leave me in 30 days, we go back to the same. Where's my resources? How can I maintain this? Can you help me? The questions aren't being asked, the right questions aren't being asked. Mr. President, once you come and help me, what are you going to leave me with? Can you help me then? And I'll cut the budgets back to where it's almost impossible to maintain that type of service.
The question was, did it work? Definitely worked here in D.C. 6-week time frame, carjackings went down 86%.
It was already
Definitely
going
worked here in
down.
D.C. Other areas, the president, I think, does have the prerogative, this is Justice Department opinion, has the prerogative because the three-part test is an or test, and the last element says if there's an imminent threat to federal law enforcement or there's a hindrance of them doing their job, which is happening in so many cities to ICE agents, or there's a threat to the facilities like ICE facilities in those districts or in those cities, then the president can send a National Guard, and that's what he's doing. So
Is ICE the K, the new K?
We all know that. We've seen the
K,
stats. And frankly, people have been out in the city
and K.
It was just a safer when the Guard was there. So
Jim, if bringing in the National Guard is what lowers crime.
Not mobilizing the guards of the state. I don't think the states that basically, Illinois has been mobilized, their guard. It's been out.
That's right, it's outside guards. But can you point
that question's being ironed out.
But Jim, you've been doing this a long time, okay? Have you ever heard that a way to lower crime anywhere is by bringing in the military? Have you ever heard that offered up as a suggestion anywhere at any time, except in Venezuela?
This is just common sense. If you have more law enforcement, you take
law enforcement is not a guy in a basic dress uniform who is trained to kill.
Well,
okay, that's a different thing.
So the justification has to be there for cities outside of the district. The district's a different entity. It's a special entity. Right. The district, the president can bring in the National Guard like he did. Crime went down. Those are facts. When you look at Chicago or Portland or some other city, then there has to be a reason that fits the law. And the reason is when there's a threat and a hindrance to law enforcement, federal law enforcement, exercising federal law and enforcing federal law. And that's the justification that the president's using. That's straight from the Justice Department, legal opinion, Office of Legal Counsel. That's their opinion, and that's why he's able to do it in those places.
Just so you know, Madeline, it is two separate issues, right? One is, how do we fight crime? The political mistake for Democrats was saying no, as if you therefore are saying you don't have a crime problem, you don't want any help. It was a bad look. The right answer should have been, yes, I want your help, Mr. President, but how? I don't want National Guard from another state. I want the DEA, I want Vice, I want whatever I need for a gang task force to Chicago or wherever. They didn't make that nuance change. They took a loss on it. But this second issue of federal assets, it's a separate issue. Mine is the crime point. Madeline, do you want to talk about crime?
To uplift Americans on Medicare, his first divine act gives Medicare Americans a major new spending
On crime. Crime was down in D.C., and I like your approach, which should have been, I want to get crime down even more. How can I help you, D.C.?
Hey,
How can
Alina.
I help you, mayor and council? What actually works? Temporarily having National Guard in is not the answer. In my city of Philadelphia, crime is down 40-some%. The president's threatening to send National Guard to us. We know that it is a misuse of our National Guard, of our military, to have them doing law enforcement operations on our streets. And for our student, I think of that student at Catholic University. It doesn't feel good that you have military on your streets, walking around with heavy armament, and obviously they're in just particular areas. It's somewhat for show. I wish that the president would say, I want to help you in all of your cities, Philadelphia, everywhere. One of the things that I had during appropriations was a reinstatement of $100 million, which are grants for violence interruption. We know that those grants, they're based right in the communities. We know those grants work to reduce gun violence, violent crime, and not one Republican would vote for it. They don't want to reduce crime in that way. And the president is doing this for, I think, a most uncomfortable, most un-American show.
Let me share this. If I had to guess which guest I would have walk off tonight, I would have never guessed it would have been Stephen A. Smith. I want you to know that. It was not my guess. But I respect the point that he made. I respect even more that he came back. I want to thank each of you for making the case to this audience and to all the American families at home about where it is. So they see at a minimum. They may like, they may not like, but they hear you talking about what matters to them. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Representative Dean, thank you. Representative Khanna, Representative Joe, thank you very much. Jim Jordan, thank you. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll all still be here.
Hey,
We all
Janet.
talk about how digital media matters so much. One of the biggest podcasts on the left, one of the biggest digital presence on the right. They're both here. Andrew Colvett from Turning Point USA and Adam Mockler will be here to talk about how social media is leading the way. Stay with News Nation.
Thank you for the floating hearts, Janet.
The News Nation Town Hall is
Sound
brought
like
to you
that
by
was a
Tler.
good
Choose the
protest. I'm
customized
gonna have to go
channel
back
lineup
and
or
watch it.
pause
I
and
mean,
watch
not
for free.
protest. Oh
Sling lets
Lord.
you do that. Base package required.
Open conversation. Oh my
All right, thank you
goodness.
so much for joining us in what has really been a special night here for News Nation.
Let's
And I
go.
hope
Get the
for
likes
all
up,
of you
y'all.
here and at
Just
home
double
at the
tap the
Kennedy
face
Center.
of your
We have been
phone.
discussing with players what's happening in this country, and it has gotten hot, but I think it's been constructive, and it shows why conversation has to be part of the cure. It cannot be just one side talking about why the other is worse. Nothing gets better that way. So, one of the things that we were talking about tonight is social media as a dominant force in our democracy, right? I would argue probably the dominating force. So how do we show balance in that and where we're headed? Good question, better answer. Adam Mockler is part of the vanguard of podcasts on the left. He works with Midas Touch. He has his own standalone, millions and millions of followers. He's one of the most listened to people on the left. Next to him is Andrew Colvett. He is part of Turning Point USA. He was the executive producer for Charlie Kirk, a very close friend of Charlie Kirk's, and he is carrying forward their sense of purpose on the podcast and with the organization. And I thank you both for being with us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Andrew, let me start with you. We have met relatively recently. I was with Charlie on Patrick Bet-David's podcast for hours. We talked, we texted. It was fruitful. Disagreed a lot. How we disagreed mattered. What have you learned, positive and negative, in the aftermath of his assassination?
Yeah, and by the way, Chris, he said really nice things about you in private, and that's why when we had a chance to get together, you know, after all of this happened, I was more than happy to connect, and I'm glad we did. What I've learned is that there is a really, really vile undercurrent of political violence, and you know, we talked about this briefly, but it's actually emanating from the political left. There was a YouGov economist poll that came out, I believe, it was between September 12th and the 15th. So the poll started 2 days after the assassination of Charlie. And what they found was about 30% of self-described liberals between the ages of 18 and 39 believed that political violence was justifiable to advance political ends. 30%. Meanwhile, conservatives of that same age group were among the most peaceful. So you see this diversion that's happening. Conservatives are getting more peaceful. Young conservatives were more likely to answer no, political violence is not acceptable than their older counterparts. However, it was completely inverted, and there's one node on that graph that stands out like a sore thumb, and that's young progressives. So what I've learned is that there is a really sick thing happening somewhere in our culture, and we could debate where it starts from, but it is there, because when you saw what happened to Charlie, a father, a husband, a wonderful, wonderful person that I can attest in the privacy of the you know, I assume we're going to get to these leaked text messages. I will tell you, Charlie Kirk in private was more extraordinary than it was in public. He was more kind, he was more generous, he was more gracious, he was more loyal. Truly, truly a man who lived his faith even in the quiet, in the private parts of his life. And yet there was people that were giddy. And that is disgusting. Now, I will tell you, I believe it was a small minority. I think it was a small minority, and it was so disgusting that we made a lot of noise about it. Okay, so it became a much bigger story. I believe that the American people are good, generous people. I think we're are decent people in this country. But the fact that there was even that many people that felt emboldened to say something or to jump on his grave or to be giddy at something that vile and gross is a disgrace, and it's a black eye on our country.
Now, Adam and I talked about this, and I found you very eloquent on this, on the line that had to be drawn. There was no yeah but for you when it came to Charlie Kirk's assassination. People should not get killed for what they believe in and expressing ideas in America. And you see it differently in terms of, yes, there is violence, increasingly so.
Yeah, I want to ask, I just want to throw it out there, I'm all over the place with how I feel. I'm trying to maintain my empathy. I really am. Lord in heaven knows that I am. It just fascinates me how it was gross and all of these crazy things that this man just said. I mean, rightfully so. But when Charlie Kirk was asked about George Floyd, he made excuses to justify why it was okay. So when I hear him saying how disgusting and foul it was what happened to Charlie Kirk, I can find reasons why it was just. The same way he was able to find reasons why it was just that the police overextend the knee on the neck. Why are you blind on one side, blind to the facts, but you can see clear on the other side that there isn't unjust? You can't justify it in one aspect and say, "Oh well, he had drugs in his system," or Charlie Kirk says some very insensitive, inappropriate things that would cause people to have an opinion not so in his favor, even in death, the same way he had with George Floyd. So get off of that crap. Now I'm gonna listen, but I'm about sick of all of this hypocrisy. I'm gonna tell you that now. Get off of it. Because this is how I know that his cause and his purpose was not of Christ, not Jesus Christ. But he put his faith in Trump and the millions of dollars of donations that came behind pro-Israel, that turned around and unalived him. And let's be clear.
More extraordinary than it was in public. He was more kind, he was more generous, he was more gracious, he was more loyal. Truly, truly a man who lived his faith even in the quiet, in the private parts.
Where he shouldn't have sold sold his soul to, made a deal with the devil.
And that is disgusting. Now, I will tell you, I believe it was a small minority. I think it was a small minority.
He made a deal with the devil.
It was so disgusting that we made a lot of noise about it. Okay, so it became a much bigger story. I believe that the American people are good.
This is why it's not good.
Are decent people. In this
I don't recommend or suggest anybody play with the devil. I don't recommend or suggest anybody to want wealth so much that you entertain the devil like that. Because you never know how far he gonna take you. You never know where he gonna lead you. You just don't know. He's a con. He's deceptive. He's a manipulator. He's a liar. He's all of those things that the Bible tells us he is. And once he convinces you in your head or entice you enough for you to play with him or entertain him or whatever, and once you do it, then he leaves you. Yeah, and leave you to deal with the consequences. And sometimes the consequences is death. That's so.
But the fact that there was even that many people that felt emboldened to say something or to jump on his grave or to be giddy at something that vile and gross is a disgrace, and it's a black eye on our country.
Now, Adam and I talked about this, and I found you very eloquent on this, on the line that had to be drawn. There was no yeah but for you when it came to Charlie Kirk's assassination. People should not.
I don't know what's going on with my phone. Okay, can y'all hear me? What part, Tammy, is the black eye on our country? What part? Yeah, I don't know what this delay is on my end. It's a delay on my phone. What part is the black eye on the country? What he just said about Charlie Kirk. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be honest. It's more of a black eye of the cover up. I mean, what he's saying is the black eye. Yeah, it happens every day. I mean, it may not have been live, but okay. The black eye is the cover up. The black eye is the young man that probably did not have anything to do with it, and if he did, he didn't know. I think he may have been baited in, but I don't necessarily think that they even have the right person, and I don't think they're looking for the right person because they know the right person was from within. See, the issue is, and why people are not talking about it, is we have to know it's from within, because each person for each incident and each stunt, although they immediately say it's from the left, far left radical, the reality of it is that it is opposite, right? You couldn't get a far left person to do it, to be a part of the skit, to be a part of the cover up. It had to be someone from the right because it was the right who organized it. You understand? The right organized it, so each person that they used are manipulated or wind up having to arrest is somebody on the right. However, they thought, they projected that it would cause a racial war, and it didn't. It was trying to, it was clicking, it was sparking because he said he was a Christian. And so Christian and pastors, at first they was like, whoa, wait a minute. Just like I did. I did the same thing. And I started saying, Christian? What? And then we start evaluating it. And then here comes the sermons. Just like my chat that day changed. And I dropped everything and became a stand-up Christian from God's word, not from how I feel, my opinion. I had to put how I felt to the side and take it to the word. So that almost sparked a war, but then it dropped. You understand? So then what was their plan B? Because each time they've tried to spark a war, it simmers down because we find out that it was from the right. So these are staged incidents that it was intended to start a war on the U.S. soil so that he could deploy troops to take our people. You understand? So the black eye is, to me, this is my opinion, is that they backdoored somebody who adored and looked up and worshiped Trump more than he looked up and worshiped Christ. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. And if something comes up that I see that is different than what I think and how I feel, I would adjust it accordingly. And believe me, I have been looking. I have been waiting. But it was immediate. I started looking for Christ in Charlie. So why he was on such a pedestal had nothing to do with God. Why he was on such a pedestal had nothing to do with righteousness. So I don't even understand why he was on such a pedestal other than he was a voice of sarcasm, misleading, condescending, disrespectful, mind manipulation for Trump. So he was on a pedestal for the far right because he was able to say what they had told Trump he couldn't. And they loved it until his eyes began to open on their own. And God started stepping up and showing out. And the revelation of it all allowed his camp to turn on him. So the truth set him free, and the truth made his camp take him out. Let's go.
In the face of what you are saying.
They haven't addressed that. They let us hold our vigil, but that was pretty much it. They haven't addressed
That's the problem now. That's the problem that Senator Manchin just said. There are no standards, and people are doing this. See, if somebody comes to me and spits at me,
oh yeah, don't spit at me, but I think whatever, but it has to be universal. It can't just be set up because of the reactions you get from Charlie Kirk. He is not special. He was special to the right, the far right, the Zionists, or whatever. But he wasn't special to everybody. He was only known over there. We didn't know him over here. Until he was assassinated. And what was done was awful. It should not have happened, not because of his views, or it just should not have happened. Period. You know, no one really, I mean, come on, man. He was taken out by his own people. So if you're going to set up something on how to deal and what peaceful is on college campuses, then it needs to be universal.
Phone and call my lawyer. All right, that's what happens. Because I'm
yeah, but don't spit on me.
Although it does make you wonder, if we were to go back to the old ways of where, I hate to quote,
you ain't lying, a fight come with it.
But Mike Tyson said that the internet has made people forget that sometimes what comes out of your mouth can get you punched in the face.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not saying that it does. But why? So there's your answer. The why did we stop that? Because it is not a productive solution to the problem. What we're doing and why Joe is so smart to be making this argument is, yes, the university should have done something about your situation to set a standard for conduct for its students, and there's an insinuation that the reason they didn't is because there's such a crazy orthodoxy on liberal thinking on campuses that is stifling speech and making people think things are okay that they shouldn't. We get it. The internet is that times a gazillion, because these guys have to deal with it every day. If Adam Mockler puts out content that is smart and sober-minded, which I hear all the time, does not go viral, does not become a hashtag, you have to say something that is incendiary. Andrew Colvett and his co-anchor and I had a conversation on the podcast the other day. It was very good. So you didn't hear about it. I talked to Benny Johnson. He gets upset because of what we're discussing about Charlie Kirk and the responsibility that I see on both sides for the dialogue. It goes crazy. Why? Because it was pitched as me trying to destroy Benny and him trying to destroy me. That is something that has to be controlled. The question is, how? Because you can't go back to the old ways, right? Of, you're going to punch me because you don't like what I said, because we shouldn't punish.
Well, the old ways, come on now. The old ways is making America great again. So to say you can't go back to the old ways means you have to cancel that slogan, that movement, because old ways is again. That word again takes you back. See, it could have just been making America great. It could have been making America great going forward. But the slogan, the movement is making America great again. So the word again takes it back. So what It depends on what your back is, what your again is. Your again is armed forces taking over, attacking innocent people. So, based off of what you said, Chris Como, you need to talk to your partner. Chris, you would need to talk to your partner right there next to you if you don't want people to go back, because the word again in making America great again is taking it back to armed forces like the K, the three Ks. ICE is now the KKK, the three Ks. So if you don't want the violence, then it needs to be just making America great.
The idea is that way, but we got to do something better than what we're doing now. Stephen Ed.
But Bill was right when he talked about there has to be consequences from your actions and it has to emanate from the top. You got Senator Joe Manchin on here who I have profound respect for. Why? Primarily because he's an independent thinker. Not just in terms of who he is as a person, but who he was on Capitol Hill. He answered to the people of West Virginia. He didn't answer to the president. He didn't answer to contemporaries in the House or the Senate. He answered to the people of West Virginia. He let it be known, that is who I represent. That is who I'm here to represent, and that's what we're going to do. When we look on Capitol Hill right now, I was watching a few weeks ago, and I'm not here to judge Kash Patel, for example, in terms of the job he's doing or not doing or whatever. I'm simply talking about, did you see the way that he was talking?
The fuel additive was added in the morning, the carbon deposits were cleared the next day, and the acceleration improved by the following month. If your car has already hit 100,000 kilometers, stop using fuel system cleaners and catalytic converter cleaners. It's just not worth it anymore. Driving feels rough. The exhaust smells terrible. It's not just a single part failing, but the entire fuel system clogged with carbon buildup. 10 years ago, cleaning carbon deposits required
I'm sorry,
walnut
y'all. I
blasting or
need for
dry
y'all
ice
to
treatment,
hit the like
and
button.
you couldn't
Come
get
on.
it done for less than...
To Senator Schiff.
Hold on, y'all. I need for y'all to hit the like button. I think I'm having a system outage. Hold on. Trying to reboot my system. Can y'all hear me? Are you able to hear me? Y'all, I'm trying to get this fixed. There we go.
You know, Bloomingdale and all. Come on, man. You know, you're the director for the FBI. So what I'm saying to you is that you got a whole bunch of people that work under trouble. We really gonna sit here in this audience today and have a discussion about decorum, how you talk to people, how you make sure that you conduct yourself. I'm not talking policy right now. I'm talking about that. And we're really not going to know where this emanates from. Let's stop that nonsense. I think got a whole bunch of people that want to emulate the president of the United States, who does not.
We're going to talk about it. I'm going to take a break. We're going to keep the conversation going. Look, the only thing I'd say is, should it come from the top down? Of course. But sometimes it needs to come from the bottom up. And that's a collective responsibility. And that's why I love all of you for being here. We're going to keep the conversation going. However, I got to take a break, and I got to thank CW, our network partner at Nexstar, for carrying this for us up until this point. Thank you very much. For the faithful at News Nation, you know this is where right and left come to be reasonable. We will continue the conversation right there. You can get it. And thank you so much to Sling for making us able to have this conversation with limited interruptions. We'll be right back after this on News Nation, where the conversation will continue. Stay with us.
I think I might have to take one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a night. This has been so much more than we could have ever imagined. And I'm very thankful for that, and I'm thankful to you for it.
The Buffalo shooting, the El Paso supermarket.
I let you talk. Yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know where it kicked out at, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm finding out that we're having system issues
I did not do
in
it.
my area.
What is your point, sir?
My point is that time and time again, whether it's the Erin Burnett on CNN, God bless her, she tried to quote the same study. They didn't include a lot of what we would consider left-wing violence in that study. Okay, first of all. Second of all, my dear friend was just killed by left-wing violence, assassinated in cold blood.
Lie.
How many ICE facilities that have been targeted? And when you look at what's happening right now, I agree with you on the radicalization, but you have to be honest about the fact that you even admitted, well, this year it's progressives. Well, what about George Floyd? What about that whole summer of looting and rioting? Listen, there has been a trend of, I think, let's just say, let's be gracious and say, in the era of Trump, maybe it's a reaction to Trump.
Yeah, but y'all thought it was gonna be looting and rioting when Charlie was
political violence. It shows up in
taken
every
out,
poll
and it wasn't.
coming from progressives.
I have spent all of my formative years watching the President of the United States talk about the opposition party like they shouldn't exist. His claim to fame in U.S. politics was saying that Obama wasn't born in America. That is how he entered the political stage. He was famous before that, but that was his claim to fame. He was the first presidential candidate to ever chant "lock her up" on a political stage. He tried to coup our government. And I live in this. Let me finish. Listen. I live in the city of Chicago. Donald Trump, over the past 2 months, has not only posted an AI video of Obama being arrested, but then after that, he posted an AI image of Chicago being invaded. After that, he sent the National Guard to Chicago. So I've spent my formative years watching the president do this. And just think about this. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat.
Well, we can talk about it.
Do you condemn it?
I want to talk about it.
Wait, so when they said gas chambers,
disavow.
when they say gas chambers, you won't. So you're like JD Vance. You just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank you.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
But
Can you condemn that?
here's the point, of course. But that's easy. What
For him, but you know what?
Bill O'Reilly, look at him. He don't want to touch it. Yeah, because you don't want to be honest.
Both of you guys, and I want to bring Joe in on this, and I want to get the audience. But let's.
Okay, so let's move on to whatever next I have. I'm cool with the amount of people that's in here. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, see what else I have before I go. Were they undercover Nazis? Were they undercover Nazis? What do you think? Were they undercover Nazis? Or are they? Not were they. Are they?
Nazi, answer not, own, destroyed.
Nazi group chat. Well, we can talk about it. Do you condemn it? I want to talk about it. Wait, so when they said gas chambers, disavow. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat. Well, we can talk about it. Do you condemn it? I want to talk about it. Wait, so when they said gas chambers, disavow. When they say gas chambers, you won't. So you're like JD Vance. You just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank you.
All right, that was this exchange at our town hall last night. Progressive podcaster Adam Mockler, Turning Point USA spokesperson, and the Charlie Kirk, executive producer of their big podcast. Now he's doing the podcast with Charlie, very close friend. I got to tell you, the moment kind of confused me in the moment. I'm not surprised it went viral. Why? Because that's what they amplify. Outrage, Nazi, answer not, own, destroyed, all that BS, right? I want to disrupt that because I know it's the problem. Now, what is also a problem? The texts, right? From these young Republicans, but they're not kids. You know, they're adults, right? And, you know, I love Hitler, stay in the closet, faggot, all these stupid things, right? Ugly, stupid things. And what is the problem? I see two problems, okay? One we're going to discuss. One is J.D. Vance, the VP, who's a smart guy, maybe too smart. Because the idea of, well, I don't know about this, because on the other side, the pearl clutching is really worse because the Democrats are worse. It's just, which one is worse is killing us. What makes us better? Let's talk about where better is in this. Conservative radio host Ben Ferguson here with me tonight, and Adam Mockler is back also. Adam, first of all, thank you very much for joining me last night and lending us your reach. Appreciate you, as I always do, either here or at the Chris Cuomo Project. Ben, the easy part is, I don't even get a whole question out of my mouth if I'm talking to you about condoning any Nazi. Yeah. As soon as I say Nazi and condone, you say, of course not. How could you even ask me that? I don't know what Andrew was doing. I don't think he's a Nazi sympathizer. But that part is an easy yes, right? I don't, whatever they say, whenever a Nazi anything, I'm against it, right?
Yeah, I said this a couple nights ago when I was asked this question on the network, and I said, look, first of all, I think this is grotesque. I think it's horrible. I think the people that said this should be out of the Republican Party. I think they should be out for a long time. I think they should be shunned. I think they need to have no leadership role, full stop, in the Republican Party. I also said that if we are going to condemn this, then I would hope that as quickly as I just condemned that, we can condemn, for example, the Attorney General candidate in Virginia for saying that children are fascists and should die, that an elected official should have 2 bullets in their head, and that they should be disqualified from running for office in the Democratic Party. 2 things at the same time can be correct. 2 things can be the same at the same time. You need to condemn it when it happens on the right, as I did instantly. We also have a big problem, Chris, in this country, that Democrats want to go after these scumbags that said this. I'm saying they are that. They should have no place in my party. I want them excommunicated. I want them on the bench for a very long time. So why the hell do Democrats not use the same standard they're demanding for their own candidate who could be the Attorney General of the state of Virginia and actually be able to go after and weaponize a government agency, law enforcement, to go after citizens who he doesn't agree with? He wants to put not 1 but 2 bullets in their head and kill the children.
Right. So, Adam, you know, you get what this is about. Why did you go at Colvette more than you went at the AG candidate?
Honestly, first of all, thank you for having me on last night. I appreciate that a lot.
Adobe Acrobat Studio is all new. What can spaces with AI do? Drag in research, drop in thoughts, watch AI pull insights from your docs. You did your thing. It's time to share. Then let your team build from there. Now you can
Every
do
time I
that.
walk
Do
away.
that with your new Acrobat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Insurance
Every
or
time I
not,
walk away.
GoodRx is the winning hand.
It was very awesome, very great. It was a great experience in my early career.
It's time to impeach, y'all. This is my opinion. That's what that's what the polls should have said. Is it time to impeach?
Confused me in the moment. I'm not surprised it went viral. Why? Because that's what they amplified. Outrage, Nazi, answer not, own, destroyed, all that BS, right? I want to disrupt that, and I know it's a problem. Now, what is also a problem? The texts, right? From these young Republicans, but they're not kids. You know, they're adults, right? And, you know, I love Hitler, stay in the closet, faggot, all these stupid things, right? Ugly, stupid things. And what is the problem? I see two problems, okay? One we're going to discuss. One is J.D. Vance, the VP, who's a smart guy, maybe too smart. Because the idea of, well, I don't know about this, because on the other side, the pearl clutching is really worse because the Democrats are worse. It's just, which one is worse is killing us. What makes us better?
Now, I will say this. I really appreciate, because this is not the first time we've come across Chris Cuomo in his stance. He did it also with Eric Trump about, you know, everybody have their opinion, but how can we move forward and not retaliate, not tit for tat, not be spiteful, not be petty? You know, how can we move forward? Okay, so find a common ground, a respectful ground. I appreciate that with Chris, because I do know that he is pretty much, I don't, you know, we need to come together as one so that we don't lose our freedoms, so that we don't get caught up in the fight of fighting each other. Fight for a common cause, not for a side, not for a left or a right. So that I would like to acknowledge that I've noticed that with him, and I appreciate it, because that's what we need. So I'm thankful for him for trying to push that cause. Let's go. So shout out to Chris Cuomo. It's finding a balance. Everything needs to balance out, not all the way to the left, all the way to the right. That's what bipartisanship really should be, and that's what I think he's trying to get to. Let's go.
In this conservative radio host Ben Ferguson here with me tonight, and Adam Mockler is back also. Adam, first of all, thank you very much for joining me last night and lending us your reach. Appreciate you, as I always do. You're here working for this Cuomo project. Ben, the easy part is, I don't even get a whole question out of my mouth if I'm talking to you about condoning any Nazi. As soon as I say Nazi and condone, you say, of course not. How could you even ask me that? I don't know what Andrew was doing. I don't think he's a Nazi sympathizer. But that part is an easy yes, right? Whatever they say, whenever Nazi anything, I'm against it, right?
Yeah, I said this a couple nights ago when I was asked this question on the network, and I said, look, first of all, I think this is grotesque. I think it's horrible. I think the people that said this should be out of the Republican Party. I think they should be out for a long time. I think they should be shunned. I think they need to have no leadership role, full stop, in the Republican Party. I also said that if we are going to condemn this, then I would hope that as quickly as I just condemned that, we can condemn, for example, the Attorney General candidate in Virginia for saying that children are fascists and should die. That an elected official should have 2 bullets in their head, and I think they need to have no leadership role, full stop, in the Republican Party. I also said that if we are going to condemn this, then I would hope that as quickly as I just condemned that, we can condemn, for example, the Attorney General candidate in Virginia for saying that children are fascists and should die, that an elected official should have 2 bullets in their head, and that they should be disqualified from running for office in the Democratic Party. 2 things at the same time can be correct.
Right, Molly, I agree.
Same at the same time. You need to condemn it when it happens on the right, as I did instantly. We also have a big problem, Chris, in this country. The Democrats want to go after these scumbags that said this. I'm saying they are them. They should have no place in my party. I want them excommunicated. I want them on the bench for a very long time. So why the hell should Democrats not use the same standard they're demanding for their own candidate who could be the Attorney General of the state of Virginia and actually be able to go after and weaponize a government agency, law enforcement, to go after citizens who he doesn't agree with. He wants to put not 1 but 2 bullets in their head and kill the children.
Right. So, Adam, you know, you get what this is about. Why did you go at Colvette more than you went at the AG candidate?
Honestly, first of all, thank you for having me on last night. I appreciate that a lot. It was very awesome, very gracious, a great experience in my early career. I do want to say I didn't even mean to go after Colvette. I thought it was going to be an easy agree. I was actually making a broader point about algorithms and young men, and I leaned over and said, "You condemn that, right?" And he said, "We'll talk about that later." And I was honestly shocked. I was like, "Wait a minute, you condemn that, right?" And he was like, "I don't want to talk. I want to talk about it later." I was actually pretty taken aback. I wasn't trying to farm outrage. To respond to Ben, as somebody who's, I guess, growing in the Democratic Party, I will easily, very strongly condemn what J. Jones said. I found it really disgusting and despicable. There is no place in America for somebody to be talking about that in a private text, especially if you're going to be one of the highest prosecutors in the state of Virginia, or the highest. So that should not be allowed in the Democratic Party. I will very strongly
thank you
condemn that.
sincerely. I mean this sincerely. Thank you for leading in the Democratic Party on this, and I mean it. Because it's guys like you and I that are going to have to just straight up call this out when we see it, and police are on side. And I think you would agree with me, he should not be the candidate for the Democratic Party. You agree that, like, all the the Democrats should be condemning and saying he needs to drop out of the race, because this person should never leave, period.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But I think a lot of mainstream Democrats have condemned it, and if you ask them to their face, they would condemn it. Can you see where I'm coming from when I say
I get that, but the leadership of the Democratic Party, and this is the problem, and this goes back to, I think, the core issue. The leadership of the Democratic Party, inside the leaders, and outside,
I don't know this guy. I didn't hear.
Protected him, J. Jones, at all costs. But you can't be surprised. They would rather run away.
Yeah,
But Ben, you can't be surprised, because look at what your party did with Trump. We've never seen anything like it, but now it's the standard. Now it's the standard.
Chris, this where...
Yeah, I mean, because listen, until we stop the tit for tat, you can't start a fight. You can't always be the aggressor. And when somebody comes back swinging at you, cry, "Oh no, he's there." What did you say to make someone say that? That person should have been condemned in the beginning, and then there is a possibility that what that person responded with would not have come out if you would have handled your business when Trump first started the bull crap. So don't get offended when somebody comes swinging back and knock you off your feet. Stop poking. Stop poking.
Message of the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, saying that 2 people in the Democratic Party's children should be murdered.
You're right. You're right.
You did not have Donald Trump saying,
you're right. I don't have it. Hold on. Adam, hold on. Listen, first of all, hold on.
There's a...
Pelosi's a step too far, because the way he made a joke about what happened, and other Republicans made a joke. Now, again,
I hate all of this and want to disrupt it because I know it's cheap. I'm just saying no one has high ground until you two do what you're talking about here on a regular basis for your own.
Right.
But right now, it's just too easy to
For
do
your
what you
own.
did that pissed off Adam, which is, I'm going to go right to the other side being worse. We got to get about who is better. And Adam, look,
And y'all can't, let me say this, and I'm a go. Y'all can't handle what y'all ditch out. I'm going to say it again. You cannot handle the far right. Y'all over there, y'all can't handle what y'all ditch out. So if you can't handle it, stop ditching it out. Because you can't tell me how to respond to your attacks. You cannot verbally attack someone just out of nowhere. It's cute, it's funny when you are verbally attacking someone. But when they respond, now you want to cry. Now you want to cry, oh, how dare you? What would make you say such a thing? Why did you attack? Why? You can't handle it. Then go sit in the corner, play with yourself, twiddle your thumbs, and learn to keep your mouth shut first, especially if you know you cannot stand it and handle it when they respond. Don't expect for anybody to respond to your verbal attack pretty and nice and, oh, that's, I'm just going, I mean, it's, no. So get your finger out your mouth and your ass. Yeah. And keep your mouth shut. Now, that's just my opinion. The conversation you trying to have with them, you need to have with your party first. Or shut up trying to attack somebody verbally because you can't handle it. People are crazy.
And Adam, look, I get why you did what you did, but I did see how the Midas Touch advertised it today. The Midas Touch, master class. Look out who is better. And Adam, look, I get why you did what you did, but I did see how the Midas Touch advertised it today. The Midas Touch, master class. Look how he destroyed. Look how he exposed the Nazi
Was there
sympathy.
anything unfactual about what I said? Can you name one unfactual
No, I'm
thing?
talking about how it was hyped. What you said was all true.
Wait,
and you
the
asked
Midas
the
Touch tweet, I promise you, the Midas Touch tweet was a transcript of our wording, and then the owner of Midas Touch said, Adam Mockler put on a master class because this is a guy who supports me, and he thought I did a good job.
But
This is not us trying to spin
I
it.
know, but it's not a master class because what that suggests is this is how you take them down. And I think that that is part of the
It
problem.
shouldn't be easy to take someone down by asking them if they condemn gas chambers.
It's not about the
This would not
substance.
surprise you.
It's not the
Here's why it went
substance.
viral.
Thank you, Tammy.
Here's why it went viral.
Because you suggested the guy's a Nazi. That's why it went viral.
Yeah. Wait, no, I did not.
No, not you.
Wait,
I'm saying his lack of answering suggested that he was okay with it. That's why it went
You
viral.
just
I
said
don't think
I
that's
suggested
fair.
he was a Nazi.
When I say
never did that.
I mean the content. Not you.
Okay, wait.
You weren't
This
trying
went
to hurt me.
viral based on the actual bearings of the clip. He was acting very, very, squirmy when I asked him.
It went viral because he could not respond. It went viral because he had a voice about everything. He had an opinion. He had, and he didn't. And I believe the young man when he said he was not expecting his response. He was expecting for him to say, yes, of course. And he didn't. He did not want to denounce it. So that made it appear that he had an agreement. That's why it went viral. He was not expecting that response. No one was expecting that response because Charlie Kirk said he represented Jesus Christ. Love, peace, harmony. Yeah. Because when you say you love Jesus Christ, you are saying that you accept and acknowledge and you work and that you're striving for the fruit of the Spirit. Bible says you can judge a tree. You can't judge their salvation, but you can judge a tree by its fruits. So that's what he was expecting. Yet, he sowed discord, hate. Yeah, so he wasn't expecting it, and you wasn't either. Or maybe you was, I don't know. Yeah, so don't try to pass a judgment on him or put blame on him. He was not expecting their response. So that's why you got this, a true reaction that went viral. It was pure. See, this is what happens when it's not staged. It was not staged. It was not staged. And it went viral.
Nazi.
When I say I mean the content. Not you.
Okay, wait.
You weren't
This
trying
went
to hurt.
viral based on the actual.
I don't know what happened to the volume. Hold on. If y'all hit the like button, maybe I'll get paid and I can buy some equipment. But I don't know why y'all don't like hitting the like button. You don't like sending super chats and super stickers and cash apps either. So we're gonna have to deal with what comes. And nope, I'm not using my paycheck to buy one. Sure, I'm not.
Clip. He was acting very, very, squirmy when I asked him a very simple question. And then you know what happened? Stephen A. Smith immediately said, hell yeah, I condemn it. And then even he said, I condemn it. So then I brought it back and said, you can condemn this, right? The idea that I spun this to go viral is not true whatsoever.
Well,
It's viral.
I'm talking about how the Midas Touch used it, which is how they should use it, because that's what trips the algorithms. I'm
Okay,
not
really
listen,
quickly, can I respond
Adam,
to one more thing?
Adam, if I had a problem with you, and I'll give you the last word. If I had a problem with you, we wouldn't be talking right now, right? I would have just called you up and said, here's why we're done. I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with what works, frankly. But I'm not blaming you for that. Last word to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the clip that you were referring to about the master class, I was actually talking about the algorithm theory that I have, so it was a bit different than me just owning him. I don't want to turn this into a partisan tit for tat. I think that Ben and I actually agreed on some solid stuff. We want to tone it down. I just think that, as you pointed out, when Ben tries to point at Democrats not condemning this, it's very easy to point at J.D. Vance. Like, this is a high position of power. This is the vice president. And when he's playing games and not strongly condemning this, it creates the permission structure for young men my age who are already confused and have a lack of moral clarity. A lot of people
Let me say
have a
this.
lot
How about you? Let me say
Go
this,
ahead.
JD.
Then I got to jump. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I think the reason why JD said what he said is because I think it's so maddening, and I'm one of those, to watch.
Oh my God, I'm so sick of people speaking for people, giving them an out. That man is a grown man. You cannot speak for him. He has to speak for himself. Stop speaking for grown people. Stop making excuses. A person will never learn, will never take ownership, responsibility of their errors if somebody always comes in and make excuses for them. Stop making excuses for other people's bad behavior. You cannot say, well, I think no, you don't know what he was thinking. He just didn't want to denounce the Nazis, the text, the Hitler. Stop assuming, well, to save him. No, because that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to save him for not renouncing, whichever one works for you. Let's go.
The guy that could become the Attorney General of the state, not get any pushback from the Democratic
Oh,
Party.
my God.
While the same Democratic Party is going after a bunch of people.
Okay, you putting your feet on the gas.
The young Republicans that have no influence in the sphere of the Republicans.
You putting your feet on the gas.
That's the difference.
I don't know any of these people's names. I've never heard of them. They're fringe people.
I get it.
What is a state
Listen,
senator?
I got to jump. Adam Mockler, we'll keep talking about it. Ben Ferguson,
When
we've
is
been
a
talking
state
about it
senator?
for 15 years. All right? And you're right. They're not kids. They were real players, and now they should be
State
gone.
senator.
We'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay, y'all, I gotta go. I'll be back later. Hit the like button on your way out. If you catch it on the, what is it called? Replay, hit the like button. I really am getting tired of it. I really am. Peace, Molly.